All right, we're gonna learn how to draw this little guy. All right, so I finally have enough free time to make another tutorial. So in this one, we're just gonna learn how to draw a cat. So I'm gonna take you step by step into my process and how I kind of think and how I kind of process references when I'm drawing my characters. But yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to I Am the Cat Photographer, Mr. Andrew Martilla. He's a photographer, cat photographer and kitten rescuer, co-create with Canon USA. For this one, we chose Sheriff Harry S. Truman. So that's who this little guy is. That's enough talking. Let's get to some drawing. So first, you have the circle. Then the line straight through. You have his little mouth here. So this is pretty much what I do when I'm going to draw any animal. This is pretty much how I start. I make the circles and then I'll do it with a brighter color so you can see it. Then I do those shapes, and then you can do the ears as triangles. For his little body. Those tiny little claws. So this is just a little rundown. Obviously I'm just like going over, but these are the shapes. So those are the general shapes. And then from there you kind of make it, you can kind of cartoon it. So if you want to actually practice, you can do this. You can just go right over any animal and just practice this method. Make the circle, make the muzzle where the nose and mouth is. Make a line going, you know, straight across, so you know, just so everything is somewhat symmetrical. And then just do these rudimentary shapes for the body, for the arms. Just lay out basic shapes first. But of course, we're not going to trace them. We're just going to draw them. So, and the thing about that also is this is where you can put. The reason why it's better to draw your own image is because this is where you put your flavor into it. This is where you really put your twist on it. And it's not that you're trying so hard to put a twist on it. Learn to draw animals regularly first, and then if you do 10 cats, then you'll be able to do your own cat, no problem, and you'll be able to put your flavor on it because been there, done that. So all right, so essentially we just kind of do the same thing we did before. It's a really ugly circle, but that's okay. Center line, and he has a little round muzzle. Get rid of some of this mess. And we'll do these little guys. Same shape for his eyes. And the reason why I go so high up is I really start the eye here. Like I don't, like when you see his I use all this space and then I draw his eye here. So that's kind of why I make it so, and this is where you put obviously the eyebrow and stuff. Alright, so we have that. We'll make his face a little wider, because he has a nice round little oblong head. And then we'll do those cute little ears that come up. Still pretty simple face, and I try to draw them quickly. I don't try to spend too much time. You just kind of like gesture them in. So what I'm doing here is basically, so his ear is here, and most ears, since they come over, so I'm kind of taking artistic license, but I'm just doing that. So you're just making, if that's his ear, and you have these hairs here, and then it comes over like that. You know, it makes that kind of dome. Same thing with this one. Comes out, but then he has that too. All right. Okay, so let me do that. And for his nose, so he has, I usually do that shape. So sort of like a little jujube with a triangle underneath. Jujube with a triangle underneath? I don't know either. That's weird. But that's what it made me think of. And these little nostrils are important. So I always do, they have these little, there's little nostrils that are kind of like this. And I just kind of simplify it when I'm doing a cartoon one. I just go like that. Or I just go like this. There, that's what I do. Bring him a little closer. Alright, now I noticed sometimes I draw on an angle, so I'm going to fix that. Alright, good. So his little mouth is pretty simple. I might make him with his mouth open, just because he has a kind of a funny expression. Or should I not? Should I just make it closed? I'll just keep it simple and make it closed. That's fine. This creative juice is already getting carried away. So I'm going to erase some of this excess lines. When they just start to get in your way, just get rid of them. I can see already that his face is a little misshapen, so my drawing is. I shouldn't say his face, my drawing is. And also, he needs more space for the top of his head. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to raise up the top of his head a little bit. I can make this a little smaller too. I'm just going to raise up the top of his head. There you go. And also I notice his ears are kind of straight and mine aren't. So I'm just going to bring down his ears a little bit. And just keep an eye out for like little things like this. All right. And we'll just make a little round A round chin here. Give him a little smile, because why not? Alright, so there's a few things that I can already see, a few issues that I see already. Firstly, this is a little too big. That's an easy fix. I just take that and make it smaller. Much cuter already. And I take his nose and make his nose a little bigger. Oops. That looks a lot better. Except these need to be a little rounder. Sometimes I have to make sure that he's not so angular. Alright, so it's looking pretty good so far. So now I'm just going to do those eyes. So I just do a middle line here just so I can just to kind of separate that shape I made before. And then I sort of do a circle, but I sort of make it a kind of almondish. I don't make an exact circle. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I start with the eyeball too far out, so I'm just gonna go closer, and I'm gonna do just a regular circle. See how that looks. That looks a lot better. Alright, so his eyes are pretty much open, so no problems there. Just going to clean this up a little bit. It's not looking too bad. Clean this up a little bit. And he doesn't have a very big jaw. He's a very small face, so make sure you give him a delicate shape to match the photo. If he had a bigger jaw, or if it was like a bigger cat, I'd give him a bigger jaw. Like lions have a big jaw. But this little guy doesn't have a really big jaw. It's not bad. Alright, so now these shapes you kind of get used to making. Just give them some like just some little bits to kind of show hair. Doesn't need that much, but just to kind of show that it's hair. I do that. Same thing up here. Give him some hairs in his ears, because cats have nice furry ears. So now for the fun part. So we're going to put his eyebrows way up here because he's happy. So first I'm going to do the eyelid. Nice thick eyelid. I'll give him a nice thick eyelid. Can erase this line in the middle, I don't need it. I'll do his eyes something like this. His pupils are really big, so his eyes can be something like that. It's not bad. It's not bad. So it doesn't look too bad to me now, but let's see what it actually looks like by flipping the canvas. Looks terrible. This is why I always flip the canvas, because you can see that it's just... actually got the eyes aren't too bad. Usually the eyes are worse. But here it's not too bad, so I'm going to use the liquify. I'm going to pull this, whoops, try to pull this down some. Just pull that down, which it also, unfortunately, pulled this line too, so we'll just have to redo that. Which is not a big deal. I want to try to match these guys. That looks a lot better. It's still a little... It's not bad. I'm going to use liquify again, and I'm just going to adjust. There we go. That looks good. It's always going to be asymmetrical because, you know, it would be weird if it was symmetrical, but you don't want it to be too lopsided because it just makes it look weird and off. And it looks like this eye is actually smaller than that one. So I'm going to do expand. So I'm going to expand that. There we go, that's good. And also I'm just going to and match this one so they're a little closer. Oops. And just make sure. So basically I just match both sides so everything looks fairly simple. I did make that a little big. Let's see. Sometimes I make the mouth and the nose a little too big. We'll give him a smaller one because he's a kitten, so he or she. I think it's a he. So we'll make that smaller. And then we'll just clean this up. Clean that up a little bit. Oh, that looks nice. Alright, so his head's looking pretty good. So let's do the body. I always make a new layer because I don't always get it right the first time, so it's nice to just have a new layer so I can erase as I need. Okay, so here's a try to figure out an easy way to do this. So I'm going to make a circle there, like that. Alright, this here, so this comes let's see, this foot is a little lower than that one, but it comes really close to it, so it's about here. Sometimes I work backwards and I just see where the foot is, and that's how I use, and that's how I pretty much set up the leg. Hopefully you guys can't hear that screaming in the backyard. Alright, let's see. So it doesn't come off too far, so he has a little, his little butt comes off here, and then he has a little, give him a little straight tail like that. His little round belly. His leg comes off. His leg actually comes back pretty far. But will that look silly? We'll see. Let me move this over a little bit. Give me some room. Alright, so he's a little, I was doing it kind of angular. I think it's better to do it circular. Just seems to me to look a little better. Alright, then his little tummy comes down here like this. And then this comes off kind of like that. Let me clean this up. Oops. Oh. Wrong layer. Whenever I do that, I just I'll just select everything, cut and paste, and then I'll just merge this. There we go. Alright, what am I missing here? His leg is definitely, let's see. So his tail comes here. His leg pretty much, that's like one. Sometimes I have to work through these things. Sometimes I have to work through these little issues. Alright. It looks like his leg is almost, oops. It's almost like that. So his leg is almost like that, which means his foot is always going to be flat. That's a little better. And I think this whole section is a little lower. There we go. And clean this up a little bit. And this actually looks like clean this up. You have his little belly here, and then you have his other little foot. They're basically here. It's not bad. Maybe all this has to be a little bigger. Lower was fine, but it actually now it looks a little small to me. So alright, how does that look? His head is a little, I think his head is a little low. I think that looks a little more natural. I think. This is actually, this front part actually looks, so he has a lot of space from here to his elbow. I definitely don't have all that space, so I'm going to select it. And bring it down. And then I'm going to bring this a little tiny bit lower. Give him some hair, little hair bits. Clean up that line, we don't really need that. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to push this leg, I'm going to do liquefy, and this leg for some reason feels, that feels better. That feels more even. Okay, great. Sometimes you gotta kind of back away and then like look at it again and just, you know, make sure it looks like they're actually standing and make sure it looks like they have their balance. It's very important to make sure that they look like they have their balance. Otherwise it's going to look weird. Alright, so we're just going to give them some eyebrows. I always struggle with eyebrows for some reason. Other than the reason that cats don't have eyebrows like we do, but that's okay. They don't really have these little things, but they just look good. Whenever I draw them on, they look good. So sometimes you just draw stuff because it looks good, you know. It doesn't always have to be. There's no rules. There's rules that will generally make things look better, but other than that, like, there's no like hard set rules. Like, the reasons why some people's art looks amazing is because they break rules and bend the rules. So this is a little, I don't think his arm is that thick. He's not that buff, not yet. Still a little rascal. So make his arm a little smaller. And I'm going to make this eyebrow a little, kind of even it out with that one. But also what I want to do is I want to liquefy. I love liquefy. And I'm just going to push them up just so he's a little happier. You know, really get those eyebrows up there. Don't be afraid to get those eyebrows up there. Okay. Looks pretty good. Let's see, we happy with that? Do we want to shift his head at all? Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and merge these. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to lower the opacity of that, and I'm going to use black. Am I going to use black? Actually, I'm going to use brown. No, I'll use black. No, I'll use dark brown. Make a new layer. I'm going to name this layer Sketches. And I'm going to name this layer Lines. And I'm going to group them all. So Cat 2. Alright, that way they're just all put together. Wait a minute, this one's Cat 2. What is this? Oh. Okay, so this one's Cat 2. So let's make Cat 3. That one is coming to a post soon. Cute little guy. Alright. So for the eyes, I do black. Ooh, it's thick. All right. And this part of it kind of takes, you can kind of get it with time, like the drawing lines smoothly and things like that. I mean, it's great if you can find, like, you can download my brushes on YouTube. I'll have the link below. You can download my brushes. I mostly use Sketchmaster, and I think it has a little smoothing, but it's also just, you know, after a while you'll get better at just kind of controlling the lines and line weights. So, like, for example, these lines, they're lighter. Like these eyelid lines, I make very light, but these lines are thick. Also, I don't necessarily do, like, I make the lines for the eyes really light, and then I do a dark line underneath. It doesn't even have to be attached. And also for here, I do nice dark thick lines. And when I do Sketchmaster, I also try to like keep it loose. Like, I don't try to make it too perfect. Alright, so I think that's all the black areas. So now I'm going to switch over to that dark brown. And I might speed through this. Actually, do I want to do black for the nose? I'll do black for the nostrils. Let me make it smaller. I'm going to switch over to the dark brown. As you can see, I'm keeping it very sketchy as well. I kind of like to keep that sketchy look. So in order to do that, sometimes I just, I'll just go off and just kind of let it, like, instead of working like so tight with it, just kind of let it flow. And then I sort of go like along, when I do the hair, I'm sort of following along with the flow of how everything goes. So like, instead of making, like, for example, this line right here, instead of just making a whole line, I'll take it and I'll go like, oops, I'll do it, and then I'll, just kind of break it up. It doesn't always have to be solid lines that stick together. This isn't like vector work where you have to make everything touch. And see how I sort of curve this to the line instead of just going like a straight circle. You just use everything you have here. I'll do these really light because these aren't actually like contours. These are just, the really light lines are just kind of like changes in the face, like the map of the face. So that's why I'm not making these dark, because when I color it, I'm just going to use them kind of as a guide as to where, his skin has a different tone, things like that. And up here is always very dark. Alright, so I'm going to try to speed through this. Alright, so apparently I ran out of memory, but all I did was line him up, and I'm going to Actually, I'll just post all that. I'll just send the video in Procreate. You didn't miss much. So I'm going to do his color in the lines, and let's speed this up. Okay, so the only things that I don't color in are the eyes and the nose, because I always color those later, and I like to be able to just add the color in the back. Alright, and then I just, whoops, the wrong, okay, good. So now that that's done, so clearly he is white with black or black with white. Which one do you think? White with black? Yeah, we'll do white with black. I think that's a little easier to work with. So we'll make him white, and we'll make a layer behind and color in his little nose, and we'll go back to the line layer and we will color in his eyebrows, which did not work, so we will color them in manually. So rude. Alright, and also we'll go to the nose layer and we'll just color his eyes. Alright, so what do we do now? Okay, so I'm going to select his body. So right now, so the only thing that's selected is the white. And for black and dark, I don't ever go black. I don't do all black. I just do gray. The reason why I don't do black is, let's see, so we're going to simplify his shapes here. I'll use a thinner. So it looks like he kind of has a triangle here, and it goes up, kind of like that, right? It's kind of what it looks like, and that's why I don't do black. But since it's on a new layer, I can take dark gray and make it a little lighter. I'll use the hue saturation and just make it a little brighter. That's good. I don't do black because then it takes away from all the, so I'm going to color pick that color, and I'm just going to, oops, let me select his body again, and I'm going to keep it on the same layer as we did the gray above for his face. It looks like that's black. And he has a nice, it looks like he has shorts on, which is very cute. Like so. And then he's also, I'm going to use his body layer. So he's got like, he's all pink under here. Cute little rascal. So he's all pink, so we're just going to take the airbrush and we're going to give him a nice little and actually I don't like that pink. We need a pink with a little more. His pink is not so let's make it a little, it's closer to this, we'll make it lighter. Nothing too crazy, just kind of give him a and then if you want to make changes, what I do is, since I'm on the body, I go to white, and then you can make changes if you need to. Actually, I can probably do more pink, to be honest with you. And I might try and change the color. It's still, there's not enough yellow in it, it looks like. That's a little better. He's kind of like a yellowish, pinkish sort of color. So we're just going to match that color. I'm just going to select it because I don't know what color, so I'm just going to select it and I'll just use that color here. Alright, good. So he's kind of like dark eyes. But for the eyes, actually I'm just going to give him a little, I'm going to take white and I'm going to take my sketch master. I'm going to make it real thick. Make sure I'm on the body. I'm just going to give him, oops. Does that look silly? Yeah, it looks kind of silly. We'll stick with flat. These are my urges to put more detail than there actually needs to be, which I do a lot. Okay, so how do I want to color this? So he has like kind of a, I'm gonna have to work this out because he's, select, and then we'll do it underneath that layer. So for all of this stuff, he's a little pink. How does that work? I don't mind that actually. Okay, I'm going to take the airbrush and I'm just going to airbrush his pink little muzzle. And then I'm going to take the hard line for his little lip. That's not bad. Let's see, something is bugging me about his coloration, so it might need to just be do we like that better? I don't know. It sort of gives the impression like he's smiling. It sort of gives, Sort of gives off like a cheek type look, which is kind of nice. Or we just have to match them. And this, sometimes I'll just do it until it looks right. That might look a little better. I'm not sure. His, it sort of actually goes... Looks like it kind of goes around like this. How does that look? Does that look better? I think that might actually look better. And this we can sort of... Oops. Oh yeah, I think that looks better. I think that looks pretty good. Alright. So, the next thing I'm going to do is, well, first of all, I'm going to color in these little bits. Which don't really need to be, but I'm just a stickler. Alright, so he has little white tufts inside his, so I'm going to make this gray a little lighter. And then I'm just going to color in a little bit here. Just to give him that separation with his ears. And then I am going to alpha lock this. I'm going to take black and I'm just going to darken him up. Since he is black, I'm going to darken him up a little bit, but not too much because I want him to maintain. Is that good? It's not bad. I'm just gonna darken him up because he is black, so you know. But I use the fade so it doesn't take too much away from his from his details in his face. Okay, so now I'm going to use black, but I'm just going to go lower on the opacity. Go a little lower. And for these contours here, this is like the upper inside of his eye, which I'm just going to make darker. It's sort of like the crevice, like above your eye. It's always darker. I can read this, so I don't have to do it twice. But I'm leaving his eyelid because a little bit of light, you know, I'm leaving that eyelid there just so a little bit of light catches it. And then on the opposite end, I'm going to take the lightest gray that I have, I'm going to make it a little lighter, and I'm just going to go underneath. Obviously here I have to go a little lighter. Oops, actually I shouldn't have had the opacity down. That was the problem. That's okay. It's a little dark. It's a little light there. It's a little too light. So that kind of makes it a plane. It kind of makes it like a depression. I'm just going to use the smudge tool to kind of clean it up a little bit. Alright. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, now on his nose, I'm just going to do this before I forget. It's not like all the way pink, like some of the light pink, and then even white. So I'm just going to do that. Alright, home stretch. Let's see what else we need to do for this little guy. Oh, yeah, we have to give him eyes. Okay, we'll give him some eyes. So, and as soon as I say that, I'm like, oh, there's always things I want to change. Always things I want to change. Okay, so got to stick to the plan here. Eyes. Okay, so I'm going to. He has kind of like bluish eyes, right? They're kind of like almost like solar system blue eyes. Actually look kind of nice. Kind of like that. I don't know why I'm doing English accents. That's what happens when you binge watch 6 seasons of Love Island UK. You start speaking in an English accent. It happens. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like these. These eyes look pretty good. Yeah, okay, so alright, so for eyes, I'm going to alpha lock, I'm going to merge them, and I'll alpha lock them. And do I want to do a pupil, like a big pupil? I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. There's so many different ways to kind of tackle eyes. So many different options. You know, you can have like the cat's eye. You can just have a black. Wait, why is this not black? Oh, opacity. There we go. It's always something. How does that look with the black pupil? I don't know. Is the pupil too big? And that's actually not bad. But we'll do how's the big pupil look? That's kind of nice. Yeah. Alright, so we're just going to do a circle. Is that too big? Are those too big? Literally, these are the questions I'm in my head asking myself all the time. I usually don't saying out loud, but that's the truth. Oh, that was almost perfect. I like that one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, what color do I want the rest of the eye to be? Because we don't want it to be white, because you can't really see any white in his eye. So we can either fudge that and just show the white, which I might wind up doing, or you can sort of color it in. What if we do like a darker? Do we like that? Or do we want to do something crazy, like go with like a yellow? What do you think? Or should we just go white? Alright, we'll stick with white, but we don't want a white, so we'll make it like a gray. And then, so we're going to go over the pupils. I'm going to go with black. I'm going to change the opacity to about 30. We'll do a 30, we'll go 40. Alright, and I'm going to do these crescents. Just show that his eyes are, back in his head. And you get them like the right weight, so they're not too dark but not too light. And then I'm going to make another layer above that. I'm going to use white. I'm going to lower the opacity to about 25. Let's see how that looks. That looks perfect. And I'm just going to give him a little jelly bean. And then we're going to give him, I'll do this on another layer. I'm going to give him something like that, which I'm completely just like making up. And then I'm going to take the eraser, soft airbrush, and I'm going to just erase into it. And then I'm going to take the eraser and go to Sketch Master, my tried and trusty, and I'm going to just don't like that second line, so I'm going to erase, but I'm going to do this line through it. I want them to be small lines. And then I'm gonna go to Sketch Master again on white, and I'm gonna just do, let's see what he has in his eye. There's lots of other little colors too, so let's do like a red. Let's make it really small. And this you can kind of just go crazy with, because there's no real rhyme or reason. I'm going to merge these, and then I'm going to take the eraser, and I'm just going to just make some noise, is essentially what I'm doing. That looks nice. I like that. And then also, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to make a layer over the base blue of his eye. Choose black, and I'm going to do the airbrush. And I'm just going to make that darker up there. And what that does is it really makes this white pop. That's all that really does, is make that white pop. Actually, I can do it over the pupils. Another trick, I don't know if I'm gonna keep this, but let's see. Another thing I noticed is a lot of cats have like a black rim around their eye. So let's see how that looks. We'll see if we like it. What do we think? Do we like the black? It's either black or no black. I don't know. But this is the fun bits. Figuring out these like details. That's what I really like. You know what we'll do? We'll just do a median. We'll just do a darker blue. If I can't figure it out, then I'll sort of go in the middle. But these are like the fun parts. That's what I really like, is like figuring out these little details that come together in the end. They may not seem like much, but in the end they come together. This little bit is bugging me, so that is so I'm going to find out where that's coming from. And I'm going to erase it. A little bit's just been bugging me. Oops. Oh, why can't I erase that? I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. It's better. Oh, same thing here. You know what I'll do? I'm going to go to lines, black. I'm just going to cover that. Yeah, that's better. Cover that up. Same thing here. Let's cover those bits up. Alright, and one more thing that I really like to do is I'm going to take the color of the eye and I'm going to go really light with it. And I'm going to alpha lock the base blue. I think it looks better before. I think it looks better normally. Let's see if I need to change any of this color. Ooh, that's kind of nice. I'll raise the saturation a little bit. That looks good. Alright, so where's his little nose? So I'm just going to come off this a little bit. It's a little too much. I'm actually going to get rid of this line. Maybe I just need to do it lighter. That looks better. Does it? So indecisive. Well, anyway, I think that looks pretty good. And last but not least, so we'll go over everything. Sketch Master, put it real thin, and we'll just do some give them some little whiskies, and yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Nah. Just make them real small. And there he is. And just because I can, I'll do another layer underneath that. I'll use black and I'll lower the opacity of the layer really low. Actually, I'll use red. Lower the opacity of the layer, not the color, because I might change the color. And this is when I'll, you do some like nice shadow work. That way you can show kind of what's far away and things like that. Kind of give some separation. And the reason why I did it on that layer is because I can change how heavy it is, like that looks better. And also you can change the temperature of it to whatever looks best. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, now I'm just going to go underneath everything and I'll lower the opacity of that layer. And we'll use actually we're going to get real fancy with this. We're about to get real fancy. Alright, so that's his little shadow. But we're going to get real fancy with this. What we're going to do is we're going to merge all this. Merge all of it, copy it, then I'm going to back out so I can unmerge the layers. Then I'm going to close this. Paste. I'm going to group these new layers and I'm going to bring them up. Minimize the old one. So now I have just these two that I can work with. I'm going to change the coloring on that. Make it a little darker, like so. I'm going to merge these two, and I'm going to use liquefy so he's not on a hill, like so. And then this is where it gets crazy. So I'm going to select all this back here. Probably shouldn't have merged the shadow, but we'll see. And we're going to feather just a little bit. And then we're going to do Gaussian blur. And we are going to blur his little butt. So now we really matched this guy. Whoops, daisy. I'll bring this picture out of it. So now we really match this little guy. Alright, I hope you guys stuck with me. I hope you got something out of that tutorial. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it helped. Let me know if there's anything that you see that I do that you find interesting, or that you do differently, or another animal that you want me to draw, something like that, another tutorial that you would really like to see. Feel free to leave me a comment below, like and subscribe, and share. Yeah, because I just, for me, the most interesting and fascinating thing for me is to watch other artists draw and actually see how they draw things and how they come up with the finished creations. Because on Instagram, all you see is like the finished, polished piece. So I've always liked to see pieces from the beginning to the end, you know, the reference into how I kind of filter it through my mind and put it down on paper. Yeah, let me know if you get something useful out of it. Give me a like, and as always, keep drawing, and I'll catch you in the next video.